a problem on standard deviation. This is an examination problem. This is asked in the year June 2008. This is a very simple two-liner problem. Line number 1 is going to give us details about the midpoints. Here it looks like a serial number, and the second line is frequency. This is an examination sum. This simple two-liner sum can equally be solved with same simplicity provided we follow a few steps. This is a formula-oriented sum, and the steps are, they are very simple 6 steps. These steps are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. If these 6 steps are followed, we can solve this problem with great simplicity and ease. Let us see how these steps are going to work out for us. Obtain n. Before we do that, this problem, this horizontal data has been just copied in a vertical form. This is what we are required to do in the first place. So this data has been copied like this in the vertical form, and midpoint m. The midpoint is abbreviated as m, frequency column with f. This is a column number 1, column number 2, and this 1 to 9 has been just written over here like this, and the frequency 6 to 4 is just written down over here. Continuing with this, we have, let us do up the window dressing. This is the problem part. Now from here onwards, what I'm going to do will be a solution part. This is given in the problem. Whatever I write from now on will be the solution part. Step number 1. Obtain n. N is the total of frequency column. This is a frequency column. Let us take a total of this. I have a calculator here. Total of this will be 6 plus 45 plus 103 plus 147 plus 205 plus 160, 80, 40 and 4, totaling to 790. This 790 is copied here. This is called n or sigma of frequency column. N or sigma of frequency column. Sigma is the total abbreviation for summation total sigma f, or n, both mean the same, 790. After having done this, we have finished the first step. Obtain n for the total. This is the first step, totaling frequency column. Next step, assume any item of variable column. This column is called variable column. This column is called variable column. In a discrete series, this is called x. In a midpoint series, in a class interval series, this is midpoint, so it is class interval, is called m. Either x or m, this is a variable column. Now we'll have to assume one of these items, starting from here to here, one of these items as a deviation, as d. Here there's a small tip. Though we can assume anything, we can assume 1 or 2 or any item from here to here and do the sum, but there's a small tip. Even though you assume anything, you'll get the same answer, but the tip is, second step is assume any item of the variable column of this column of x or midpoint column d. Assume one of them to be d. Here what to assume as d is a question. The tip is d should be when the number of line items are, d should be when the number of line items are odd or even. When it is odd, the center item. For instance, in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It is odd. 9 is an odd number. when we have an odd number, the D should be a center one chosen. For example, here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is an odd number. When 7 is an odd number, D to be chosen should be center of this from here to here. Again, I'm telling you, you can choose anything. You can choose 1 as D, 2, 3, anything. But if you choose the center one, your calculations will be easy. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Center of 1 to 7 is 4. So choose D to be 4. If you take another example where the number of line items are even, then the center line, this is the splitting part between 1 to 8, center is here. One digit above this, that is 4, should be assumed as D. If we do this simple trick, if we just take this D as a center point, then automatically our calculation becomes very simple. The result is our calculations are working, is made very simple and easy. It's self-working. I can tell you, explain to you why it becomes simple, but let me not deviate from the topic. So I'm coming back to this. It's like using a calculator. To use a calculator, I won't have to know what is behind this, how it works. I won't have to know all that. I'll have to just press 6 plus 3, I get the result. Similarly, if you just follow this tip, your life becomes simple, scoring becomes easy. And second important thing is, you will never go wrong. So a simple tip like this, choose the center point as D, an even number over here, and an odd exactly center, and this will be the result. So we'll follow this second step now in this problem, choosing D. D here, N is, number of line items is 9, so let us choose the center portion D to be 5. Once this is chosen, now next step will be take deviations from M, that is M minus D. Each item over here is called M minus D, 1 minus 5, 2 minus 5, like that. Let us take deviations from M. Here D is equal to 5, M minus 5, let me call this column number 3. Here we have 1 minus 5, that is minus 4, 2 minus 5, minus 3, 3 minus 5 is minus 2, 4 minus 5 is minus 1, 5 minus 5 is 0, 6 minus 5 is positive 1, 7 minus 5 is 2, 8 minus 5, 3, 9 minus 5, 4. The beauty of this is, if you total up this D column, it should equal to 0. All this negatives over here, minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1. Here 1, 2, 3, 4 positive. If you put a total of here, automatically it becomes 0. If this objective is achieved of making this sigma D, if that is made 0, much of your calculations becomes very simple, and you can see the beauty of working the sum, so simple and so easy. So now we have achieved this step of taking deviations from M minus D. Last one is, the fourth step is for each line item, that is for each item like this, each line item, multiply F into D, column F into column D. This is column D, F into D. So we have the fourth step, multiplication of column F into column D. 4 is nothing but column F, that is 2, into column D, that is 3, column F into 2, column 2 into column 3. So this is the next one, we'll call this FD, F into D. So 6 into minus 4, minus 24, 45 into minus 3, will be minus 135, 103 into minus 2 will be minus 206. 147 into minus 1 will be minus 147. 205 into 0 is 0. 160 into 1 is 160. 80 into 2 is again 160. 40 into 3 is 120. 4 into 4 is 16. So now we have achieved this step. For each line item, multiplying f into d. So you got fd column, and then obtain sigma fd. Sigma means total. F into d, total of this column, sigma fd. Sigma fd is, let us take this total, all negatives one place, all positives one place, minus 24 plus 135 plus 206 plus 147 totals up to 512. This is a minus 512. And this side it is 160 plus 160, 320, 320 plus 120 is, I'll do this for you, plus 16 is 456 positive. If we add this up, minus 512 plus 456, the resultant figure will be 512 minus 456 minus 56, because minus sign is greater, we have a minus 56. So sigma fd is minus 56. Then we move on to the next step. We have finished step 4, obtaining sigma fd. We'll move on to the next step. For each line item, f into d, that is fd squared. This column 5 is nothing but f into d. This column into this column, you'll get fd squared. So column 3 into column 4. I hope it's not confusing. To clear your doubts, let me put one simple line over here. With this, now we have column FD, this column to this column, 4 into minus 24, 4 into 24, both of them are minus sign, minus to minus becomes plus, so we have 96. Minus to minus, here in this column everything becomes positive, automatically positive. That's what is mentioned here. For each line item, after having done this, tip is all the FD whole squared and sigma FD squared will be positive. So automatically this column will become positive and the total also will become positive. That's the meaning of this. 3 into 135 is 405. 2 into 206 is 412. 1 into 147 is 147. 0. 1 into 160 is 160. 2 into 160 is 320. 2 into 320 is 360. 3 into 120 is 360. 4 into 16 is 64. Our next step is obtain sigma FD squared. This is sigma FD squared. Take a total of this, sigma FD squared. If you take a total, it will work out to 96 plus 405 plus 412 plus 147 plus 160 plus 320 plus 360 plus 64. It will total up to 1964. This is sigma fd squared. We have a total of this sigma fd squared. So we have achieved step number 5. We have come up to here and we observe that all the line items in this column is positive, all fd squared is positive, and sigma fd squared, this also is positive. Now we'll go on to the last step, applying the formula. Whatever we have got in this, here put that into the formula, substitute these numbers in the formula, solve this with the help of a calculator, we'll get standard deviation. So we're moving on to the last step. Formula is this is the symbol used for standard deviation. Standard deviation is equal to sigma, I'm just using this formula here, sigma fd squared divided by n minus sigma fd by n whole squared whole root. This is the formula. Now sigma fd squared we know is 1964, n is 790, sigma fd is minus 56, again n is 790 whole squared whole root. If we solve this, we'll get this minus squared will go away. Now 1964 divided by 790 will give us 2.4860. So I'm just going to write this here, 2.486. I've solved this portion and written over here minus 56. This minus sign will automatically go away because when we square minus into minus becomes positive. 56 divided by 790, we have this whole squared into equals, we get 0.0050 root. Now 2.486 minus 0.005 will give us 2.481 root of 2.481. This root sign is here. I'm just pressing this root sign. All calculators will have this root sign. Root, I've got 1.5751. So standard deviation is always after having solved the problem, please put this answer in a bigger font. Standard deviation is equal to 1.5751. Write the answer in sentence form. Standard deviation is equal to 1.5751 and put this in a box, preferably in some other color. Examination, you are not allowed to use red ink, but you can use black ink, black and blue as a combination. I have used red and black. You can use black and blue and write the final answer in a bigger font and put it in a box like this. This font is Arial 14. So you can use Arial 14 and put it in a box like this. The idea is you should not strain the examiner, you should not make him search for the final answer. Moment he sees answer like this in the box, he should just see this answer and give you full marks. That's the objective. So let us quickly run through the steps and see how we got this. We have already completed the sum. We have followed these 6 steps. Step number 1, obtaining frequency total. Step number 2, assuming D, preferably a center one. This is an even number of line items. Center one is D. Then next step is taking deviations from M. Here we have taken deviations from m, 1 minus 5, 2 minus 5. Here this column is ready. The objective is to get sigma d as 0. Then fd column, that is multiplication of column 2 into column 3, f into d. We got 6 into minus 4. Similarly, the whole column is done. We get a total of sigma fd column is total positives, negatives added together once, positive added together once, total minus 56. Then fd squared, the fifth step, sigma fd squared, that is column 3 into column 4, 4 into 24, both of them minus, it becomes positive 96. Similarly, we got this. Total of sigma fd squared is 1964. Then apply formula. The last step, apply formula. So substituted these values, what we have here in the formula here. The formula is written and values are substituted. After having solved this in the calculator, finally we get standard deviation 1.5751. Standard deviation is equal to 1.5751. With this, we are done.